You have spent your entire life believing that authority is something you must perform, a mask you put on, a volume you increase, or a set of complex linguistic gymnastics you must master to convince the world that you are worth listening to. You have been told that to lead you must dominate, that to be heard you must shout, and that to possess presence you must fill every silence with the sound of your own voice. But as you stand on the threshold of this realization, you must understand that true authority is not a performance. It is a frequency. It is the steady, unshakable weight of a person who has aligned their internal reality with their external expression. Most people are leaking their power through every word they speak, desperate for a validation that never comes because it is sought from the outside. You, however, are about to learn the art of the sovereign voice. Think about the moments when you have felt most invisible, those times in meetings, social gatherings, or intimate conversations where your words seem to fall flat, lacking the gravitational pull to hold anyone's attention. You likely blamed your vocabulary, your height, or the lack of interest from your audience. But the truth is more profound. You were speaking from a place of negotiation. You were subconsciously asking for permission to be heard. Every upward inflection at the end of a sentence, and every frantic rush to finish your thought before being interrupted, was a signal to the world that you did not believe in your own right to occupy the space. Authority is not granted by the listener, it is commanded by the speaker's lack of need for approval. In this journey, you're going to dismantle the psychological scaffolding of the pleaser and the performer. You will discover that presence is not about being the loudest person in the room, but about being the most solid. It is the difference between a frantic wind that whistles through the trees and the mountain that remains unmoved as the clouds pass by. You are going to learn how to inhabit your body and your breath so that when you do speak, your voice carries the weight of 1,000 silent hours of self-mastery. This is about vocal economy, the understanding that the more you value your words, the more the world will value them. You will move from a state of broadcasting to a state of being. This is not a manual on public speaking. It is a blueprint for existential weight. We will explore the mechanics of the pause, the architecture of the gaze, and the philosophy of the unhurried mind. You will learn why the most powerful people in any room are often the ones who speak the least, but whose few words act as the anchor for everyone else's reality. You are about to enter a realm where your presence precedes your speech, where people stop talking, not because you interrupted them, but because your energy demanded their attention. This is the birth of your quiet command. You must be willing to let go of the safety of being ignored. Authority is a lonely path because it requires you to stand behind your words without the alibi of a joke or a self-deprecating comment. It requires you to look the world in the eye and state your truth without waiting for a nod of agreement. Are you ready to stop auditioning for your own life? Are you ready to speak with a presence that doesn't just fill a room, but changes the very molecular structure of the conversation? The silence is waiting for you. It is time to fill it with the sound of a person who has finally found their center. Chapter 1. The Architecture of Internal Weight. You must begin by understanding that your voice is not merely a tool for communication. It is the physical vibration of your self-trust. When you speak, you are not just transmitting information. You are broadcasting the current state of your internal hierarchy. Most people walk through the world with a hollow voice because they are disconnected from the center of their own being. They speak from the throat, from the head, or from a place of frantic airiness, because they are subconsciously trying to reach out and grab the listener's approval. This is the first and most common leak of authority. To speak with presence, you must first build the internal weight that allows your words to land with the thud of a closing vault door. You move from the performance of the voice to the gravity of the soul. Think about the physical sensation of being in your body. Most approval seekers live entirely in their peripheral vision, constantly scanning the room for micro-expressions of boredom, disagreement, or judgment. Because your attention is out there, your voice becomes thin and extended. You are literally trying to bridge the gap between yourself and the other person with your vocal energy. But authority requires you to withdraw that energy back into your own center. And you must learn to speak as if the listener's reaction is a distant secondary event. This is the inward gaze. When your attention is rooted in your own ribcage, your own breath, and your own conviction, your voice naturally drops in pitch and increases in resonance. You are no longer throwing your words at someone. You are allowing them to emit from a solid core. This weight is constructed through the refusal of the rush. Speed is the greatest enemy of authority. When you speak quickly, you are telling the world that you do not believe your words are important enough to occupy the time they require. You are trying to get it over with before someone takes the floor away from you. This is the scarcity mindset of the insecure. But the person with presence understands that time is a resource that they own. You must learn to inhabit the vowels, to finish your consonants, and to allow the natural rhythm of your thought to dictate the pace of the room. You aren't taking the listener's time, you are gifting them with a clarity that only deliberate speech can provide. By slowing down, you force the world to tune in to your frequency. You are the metronome of the interaction. Consider the trap of the upward inflection. This is a linguistic virus that has infected modern communication, where every statement sounds like a question. It is the sound of a person who is constantly checking in to see if the listener is still on board. The project is finished. I think we should go this way. Every time your pitch rises at the end of a sentence, you are submitting your reality to the listener for a vote. You are asking, "Well, is this okay?" To speak with authority, you must master the downward inflection. Your statements must end on a lower note than they began. This creates a period at the end of your thought, a sonic boundary that signals finality. You aren't suggesting a reality, you are stating it. This downward curve is the sound of a door being locked. It tells the world that the negotiation is over. You must also recognize the myth of the filler word. Like, actually, and you know, are not just verbal tics, they are psychological safety nets. They are the sounds you make when you are terrified of a split second of silence. You are using these words to hold the floor while your brain catches up to your mouth. But in the world of authority, silence is your greatest ally. A pause is not a hole in the conversation. It is a frame for your next thought. When you remove the fillers, you are demonstrating a tolerance for the void. You are showing the world that you are comfortable standing in the silence while you find the perfect word. This deliberation is the hallmark of the specialist. It signals that you value the integrity of your message more than the comfort of the noise. This internal weight requires a recalibration of your relationship with the listener. Most people speak to convince. They use a lot of energy, a lot of facial expressions, and a lot of vocal variety to sell their ideas. This is high beta communication, and it feels exhausting to the listener. It signals that you are working harder than the other person. But true authority is low beta. It is the relaxed awareness of a person who knows the truth and feels no need to hype it up. You must learn to lean back into your own words. If the listener doesn't understand or doesn't agree, that is their problem to solve, not yours to fix with more words. This detachment is the ultimate power move. It forces the listener to lean in to you. You are the source, and the source never chases the stream. Think about the mechanics of the breath. Authority is a bottom-up process. If your breath is trapped in your upper chest, your voice will always sound tight and defensive. This is the fight or flight voice. To speak with presence, you must breathe into your belly. You must feel the expansion of your lower ribs, This diaphragmatic support gives your voice a physical foundation. It connects your words to your gut. When you speak from the belly, your voice has a richness that cannot be faked. It bypasses the listener's logical filters and goes straight to their instinctual center. They don't just hear you, they feel you. This is the vibration of a person who is integrated. You are no longer a head floating in space. You are a totality. This integration requires you to own the silence before you even begin. Most people start speaking the moment they think of something to say, or the moment the other person stops. This is reactive speech, but the person with presence prepares the space. Before you speak, you take a breath. You look the person in the eye. You allow a beat of silence to hang in the air, and this pre-speech pause is a declaration of sovereignty. It tells the world that you are the one who initiates the interaction. You are not responding to the environment. You are ordering it. By waiting that extra second, you ensure that the listener is ready to receive you. You are not throwing seeds on hard ground. You are plowing the field first. Consider the fear of being too loud or too much. Many approval seekers muffle their own voices, speaking at a volume that is just a few decibels below what is required. This is a hiding strategy. It allows you to test the waters without fully committing, but low volume is often interpreted as low confidence. You must learn to project, not by shouting, but by expanding. You must imagine your voice reaching the far corners of the room. This spatial awareness is a form of territoriality. When you project your voice, you are claiming the entire space as your own. You are saying, "I am here, and I am large enough to fill this room." This unapologetic volume is the first step in reclaiming your social mass. Start practicing the sovereign scan. In your next conversation, consciously pull your attention away from the other person's face and place it in your own solar plexus. Feel the weight of your feet on the floor. Speak your next sentence as if you are talking to yourself in a deep, resonant room. Do not look for a nod. Do not look for a smile. Just state the fact and wait. Notice the tremor of anxiety that wants you to fill the silence. Watch it, and then let it pass. You are building the muscles of internal weight. You are anchoring your voice in the granite of your own existence. The architecture of internal weight is the skeleton of authority. Without it, every technique you learn is just a costume, but with it, you are unshakable. You move from seeking to be heard to being impossible to ignore. You are no longer negotiating for your space, you are inhabiting it. The world will learn to listen to you the moment you start to listen to yourself. You are the primary source, you are the weight, you are the presence, and today you are finally heavy enough to be real. Chapter 2. The geometry of the gaze. To speak with authority is to understand that the eyes are the primary conductors of social power. Long before a single word leaves your lips, a silent contract is negotiated through the interlocking of vision. Most people use their eyes as scouts, frenetic, darting instruments that are constantly searching for safety, for a nod, or for an exit. This is the submissive gaze. It signals to the world that you are a reactive entity, easily startled and deeply concerned with the movements of others. But the person with presence uses their eyes as anchors. You move from the scanning of the prey to the steady observation of the sovereign. You realize that your gaze is not just a way to see, it is a way to be seen as a source of gravity. Think about the frequency of your eye contact. Most approval seekers engage in staccato looking. They lock eyes for a split second, feel a surge of vulnerability, and then break the gaze by looking down or to the side. And every time you break first, you are subvocally admitting that the other person's presence is too heavy for you to bear. You are ceding the territory of the interaction. To speak with authority, you must learn the unbroken gaze. This is not an aggressive stare down. It is a relaxed, wide-angle focus. You aren't piercing the other person, you are holding them. When you can maintain eye contact while you are silent, and especially while you are speaking, you are demonstrating that you are comfortable with the intimacy of the moment. You are unrattled. This geometry requires you to understand the triangulation of power. In a typical conversation, the weak speaker looks at the listener, then at their own hands, then at a distant object, creating a scattered triangle of attention. And this diffusion of energy makes your words feel light and disposable. But the sovereign speaker creates a linear connection. You look at the person, you speak your truth, and you remain there. You don't look away to think. You don't look away to soften the blow of a difficult statement. You allow the tension of the gaze to act as the delivery system for your authority. By refusing to break the connection, you are forcing the other person to process the full weight of your presence. You are commanding their focus by refusing to dilute your own. Consider the fear of the blink. The arrogant man blinks too little, trying to intimidate through a robotic, unmoving stare. This is artificial and brittle. The insecure man blinks too much, signaled by the fluttering of the eyelids that reveals internal anxiety. But the person with the rare balance has a natural slow blink rate. This signals a low arousal state. It tells the world that your nervous system is calm. When you are physiologically still, your words carry more intellectual weight. You aren't reacting to the conversation, you are observing it. This visual stillness is the foundation of quiet authority. It suggests that you have seen enough of the world to not be surprised by anything it throws at you. You must also recognize the direction of the break. If you must look away to reflect on a complex idea or to check a resource, never look down. Looking down is a universal signal of submission, shame, or checking in with your feelings. It makes you look like a child being scolded. Instead, you look sideways or up. Looking sideways signals processing or lateral thinking. Looking up signals vision or accessing higher level concepts. By choosing the vector of your gaze, you are managing the perception of your internal process. You aren't losing the room, you are stepping into the balcony of your mind and then returning with the answer. You move from apologetic to analytical. This visual sovereignty extends to how you receive information. Most people, when being spoken to, overnod and oversmile, using their eyes to broadcast a desperate, "I'm listening, please like me." This is reactive listening, and it actually lowers your authority. The person with presence is a still listener. You look at the speaker with a neutral, attentive gaze. You don't perform your interest, and you provide your attention. This stillness makes the other person work harder to reach you. It forces them to be more precise and honest with their words. You are the judge, and the judge does not nod until the evidence is in. By being visually quiet while others speak, you ensure that when you finally do speak, the contrast is so sharp that the entire room tilts toward you. Think about the spatial geometry of the room. Authority is the ability to own the entire visual field. Most people have a tunnel vision gaze. They only see what is directly in front of them. But the person with presence has peripheral mastery. You are aware of the edges of the room, the people in the shadows, and the energy of the collective. This wide-angle awareness is a high-status trait. It signals that you are not threatened by anything in your environment. You aren't locked onto a single target. You are managing the entire system. When you speak, you sweep the room with your gaze, making micro-connections with everyone. You are weaving the room together with your eyes. You move from a participant to a conductor. This requires you to overcome the biological urge to hide. When we feel judged or pressured, our eyes naturally want to contract. We want to look away to protect our internal state. But authority is the courage to remain open. You must learn to soften your gaze even when the conversation is hard. You must invite the world in through your eyes. And this vulnerable strength is what makes your presence so compelling. People can feel that you are truly there, not just performing a role. You are transparently powerful. You aren't shielding yourself from the gaze of others. You are absorbing it. You move from the hiding of the child to the exposure of the king. Start practicing the 5-second anchor. In your next interaction, make it your goal to maintain unbroken eye contact for at least 5 seconds after you finish speaking. Do not look away the moment the last word leaves your lips. Stay there. Inhabit the silence of the gaze. Watch the other person's reaction. Notice the urge to look down or to soften the moment with a smile. Resist it. You are training your nervous system to handle the pressure of being seen. You are anchoring your authority in the physical connection of the eyes. The geometry of the gaze is the invisible infrastructure of your presence. It is the wiring that carries the current of your words. Without it, your voice is just sound. But with it, your voice is a command. You move from hoping to be seen to being the one who sees. You are no longer darting through the world, you are standing in it. The world will learn to yield to your vision the moment you learn to hold it. You are the anchor, you are the observer, you are the sovereign. And today, your eyes are finally heavy enough to hold the room. Chapter 3, The Architecture of Silence. You must now confront the most uncomfortable truth of high-status communication. Your authority is not measured by the words you speak, but by the silence you are willing to tolerate. Most people treat silence as a void that must be filled, a vacuum that creates a psychological pressure they are too weak to withstand. When a conversation stops, the insecure person feels a desperate urge to perform, to offer an unnecessary explanation, or to crack a self-deprecating joke just to diffuse the tension. This is the leaking of the self. Every time you rush to fill a pause, you are signaling to the world that you are uncomfortable in your own presence. But the person with authority treats silence as a frame. You move from the noise of the pleaser to the stillness of the sovereign. You realize that the most powerful thing you can say is often nothing at all. Think about the mechanics of the beat. In a standard interaction, there is a rhythm of back and forth. The submissive speaker is always on the beat, responding instantly to the other person to prove they are attentive and safe. This makes your communication predictable and low value. But the person with presence understands the power of the offbeat. When someone asks you a question or makes a point, you do not respond immediately. You allow a full 2 seconds of silence to hang in the air. This is the processing pause. It tells the listener that you are not a reactive machine, but a deliberate thinker. It forces the other person to sit in the gravity of their own words. By refusing to rush, you are asserting ownership over the timeline of the interaction. You are the one who decides when the conversation moves forward. And this architecture requires you to master the listening silence. Most people listen to respond. Their brains are already formulating the next sentence while the other person is still speaking. This creates a vibrational restlessness that the other person can feel. You look like you are waiting for a gap rather than absorbing the information. This is disrespectful communication disguised as engagement. To speak with authority, you must practice total presence. You listen with your entire body, maintaining a neutral, steady gaze and a still posture. You don't overnod or offer verbal crutches like uh-huh or right. You simply witness. This heavy silence acts as a mirror. It forces the speaker to see the quality of their own thoughts. Often, when faced with this kind of silence, people will begin to self-correct or reveal more than they intended. You are gaining information while they are spending energy. You move from the player to the observer. Consider the trap of the justification. When you make a decision or state a boundary, the insecure ego wants to explain why. You offer reasons, excuses, and context in a desperate attempt to soften the blow or ensure the other person doesn't think poorly of you. But explanation is the opposite of authority. Every reason you give is a handle that the other person can grab to start a negotiation. If you say, "I can't do that because I'm busy," they can argue with your busyness. If you simply say, "I can't do that," and then stop talking, there is nothing to argue with. The silence that follows a no is the armoring of the boundary. It tells the world that your decision is a final fact, not a proposal. You must learn to state and stay. State your truth and stay in the silence that follows. You must also recognize the power of the uncomfortable pause in negotiation or conflict. When you make an offer or ask a difficult question, the silence that follows is a test of nerves. The person who speaks first is usually the one who loses the status battle. The arrogant person will fill it with a boast. The insecure person will fill it with a concession. But the sovereign person treats the silence as a tool of extraction. You wait. You maintain eye contact. You allow the other person to feel the weight of the unanswered air. This is not cruelty, it is calibration. It reveals the internal pressure of the other person. By holding the silence, you are demonstrating that your nervous system is more regulated than theirs. You are the anchor, and they are the tide. Eventually, the other person will speak to rescue themselves from the silence, and in that moment, they will almost always give you what you want. Think about the visual component of the silence. When you are silent, your body language becomes the primary narrator. If you are fidgeting, checking your phone, or looking away, your silence is weak. It is an escape. But if you remain still, your silence is commanding. You must learn to inhabit your stillness. Feel the weight of your arms at your sides. Feel the expansiveness of your chest. When you are physically quiet, your presence expands to fill the room. You are no longer taking up space with your voice, you are occupying it with your existence. This is the sovereign stillness that precedes all great acts of leadership. It tells the world that you are ready, but not rushed. You are a potential energy waiting to be kinetic. This requires you to divorce your self-worth from the approval of the noise. Most people use chatter as a psychological security blanket. We talk to feel connected, to feel normal, and to avoid the terror of being alone with our thoughts in the presence of others. But authority is the courage to be alone while standing right in front of someone. You must be willing to be the quietest person in the room without feeling small. You must realize that your value is not generated by the number of words you produce, but by the integrity of the ones you choose to release. Silence is the refinery where noise is turned into wisdom. By speaking less, you ensure that when you do speak, your words land with the impact of a boulder dropped into a still pond. Start practicing the 3-second buffer. In every conversation today, before you respond to anything, a question, a greeting, or a comment, count to 3 in your head. Watch the other person's face during those 3 seconds. Notice their impatience, their curiosity, or their discomfort. Realize that you are the cause of those emotions simply by doing nothing. This is your first taste of the power of silence. You are manipulating the environment, not through action, but through restraint. You are training your brain to realize that the void is not a threat, it is a throne. The architecture of silence is the negative space that defines the sculpture of your presence. It is the frame that makes the painting valuable. Without it, your communication is just a wall of sound, meaningless and easily ignored. But with it, you are magnetic. You move from fighting for attention to being the center of it. You are no longer spending your energy to be heard. You are investing your silence to be remembered. The world will learn to hush when you walk in the moment you learn to hush the noise inside yourself. You are the stillness. You are the frame. You are the sovereign. And today, your silence is finally heavy enough to hold the world. Chapter 4. The Physics of High-Status Stature. You must now address the physical vessel through which your authority is projected. Your presence is not a ghost inhabiting a machine. It is a direct result of how you organize your biological mass in three-dimensional space. Most people walk through the world in a state of unconscious contraction because they are seeking approval, fearing judgment, or trying to appear non-threatening. They inadvertently collapse their own posture. They round their shoulders, tuck their chins, and minimize the amount of surface area they occupy. This is the submissive silhouette. It tells the world's ancient, instinctual brain that you are a beta entity trying to hide in plain sight. But the person with authority understands the physics of expansion. You move from the hiding of the insecure to the occupancy of the sovereign. You realize that your stature is a decision you make before you ever open your mouth. And think about the vertical axis of your spine. Most people carry the weight of their internal critic on their neck and shoulders, leading to a slight forward lean or a hunched appearance. This signals burden and exhaustivity. To speak with authority, you must master the sovereign spine. Imagine a string pulling the crown of your head toward the sky, creating space between your vertebrae. This is not about standing at attention like a soldier. It is about suspended ease. When your spine is long, your ribcage opens, providing the vocal chamber necessary for a resonant voice. You are no longer compressing your power, you are stacking it. This verticality signals that you are ready for action, but rooted in peace. You are the pillar of the room. And this physics requires you to understand the horizontal expansion of the shoulders and chest. Insecure people often guard their heart and throat by pulling their shoulders forward, a vestigial reflex to protect vital organs from a predator. This makes you look defensive and small, but the person with presence exposes their center. You roll your shoulders back and down, allowing your collarbones to broaden. This is the vulnerable front. It tells the world that you are so confident in your own strength that you don't feel the need to shield yourself. By taking up more horizontal space, you are claiming territory. You are signaling that you are the apex of the environment. This openness is not a weakness. It is the ultimate power pose because it proves you are unthreatened. Consider the geometry of the limbs. Most approval seekers keep their arms close to their bodies, their hands hidden in pockets, or their legs tightly crossed. This is high arousal behavior. It looks like you are holding yourself together because you are afraid of falling apart. But authority is low arousal. You must learn the art of the asymmetric lean. When you sit or stand, allow your limbs to occupy disproportionate space. Place an arm on the back of a chair. Stand with your feet wider than your hips. Use expansive gestures that move away from your torso. This spatial entitlement tells the room that you own the furniture, the air, and the attention. You aren't fitting into the world is fitting around you, and you move from guest to owner. You must also recognize the speed of the movement. Arrogance is often characterized by sharp, aggressive movements, pointing fingers, slamming doors, or walking with a heavy, stomping gait. This is performative dominance, and it reveals a lack of self-control. Insecurity is characterized by fidgety, erratic movements, touching your face, adjusting your clothes, or shifting your weight. This reveals nervous energy. But the person with the rare balance moves with liquid deliberation. Every gesture has a beginning, a middle, and an end. You turn your head slowly to look at someone. You reach for a glass with a steady, smooth arc. You walk with a rhythmic, unhurried pace. This economy of motion tells the world that you are sovereign over your own muscles. And you aren't reacting to the environment. You are gliding through it. You are the predator, and the predator never fidgets. Think about the physics of the head tilt. Most people, when trying to be likable, tilt their head to the side. This is a submissive signal that exposes the neck and mimics the behavior of a puppy. It tells the listener, "I am harmless." While useful for rapport building, it is fatal for authority. To speak with presence, you must keep your head level. Your chin should be parallel to the floor, and your gaze should be horizontal. This level head signals objectivity and judgment. It tells the world that you are evaluating the situation from a place of neutrality. When you do move your head, and do it slowly and intentionally, a quick turn of the head is a startle reflex. A slow turn of the head is an act of choice. You are granting your attention, not losing it. This requires you to divorce your body from the need to please. Most of our bad posture is actually a social strategy to avoid conflict. We shrink so we don't stand out. We slouch so we don't look arrogant. We fidget so we look busy. But authority is the courage to be seen in your full dimensions. You must be willing to be the tallest and widest version of yourself without apologizing for it. You must realize that taking up space is not an act of aggression against others, but an act of integrity toward yourself. Your body is the amplifier for your voice. If the amplifier is collapsed, the sound will always be distorted. But when the amplifier is open, your voice carries the resonance of the entire room. Start practicing the door frame calibration. Every time you walk through a door today, take a split second to reset your physics. Lift the crown of your head, broaden your shoulders, relax your arms. Walk through the center of the frame, not the side. Feel the sudden increase in your own perceived mass. Notice how the room feels different when you enter it with this intentional stature. You aren't changing who you are uncollapsing who you have always been. You are claiming the coordinates of your own existence. The physics of high-status stature is the tactile reality of your presence. It is the weight that the world feels before you speak a single word. Without it, your authority is just a concept. But with it, your authority is a fact. You move from trying to look powerful to being the source of power. You are no longer asking for space. You are defining it. The world will learn to move for you the moment you learn to stand for yourself. You are the pillar. You are the apex. You are the sovereign. And today, your body is finally heavy enough to anchor the room. Chapter 5. The Strategic Economy of Expression. You must now confront the seductive trap of the expressive mask. Most people believe that to show presence, they must be animated, that they must use their faces to narrate every emotion, to signal every agreement, and to perform a constant pantomime of engagement. And they believe that a warm face is a safe face, and that by constantly smiling, nodding, and widening their eyes, they are building rapport. But in the architecture of authority, excessive facial movement is a status leak. It signals that you are working to manage the other person's emotions. It tells the world that you are reactive rather than composed. To speak with true authority, you must master the strategic economy of expression. You move from the chatter of the face to the stillness of the mask. You realize that the most powerful expression is the one you choose to withhold. Think about the frequency of a person who is overexpressive. Their eyebrows are constantly jumping. Their mouth is in a perpetual state of social smiling, and their forehead is a map of reactive tension. as this is the performer's face. It suggests that you are auditioning for the listener's approval. It makes you look eager, and eagerness is the opposite of authority. Authority is contained. It is the neutral baseline. When your face is still, your words carry a heavier weight because they aren't being diluted by a dozen competing visual signals. You are forcing the listener to focus on your message rather than your performance. This minimalism creates a sense of mystery and depth. It tells the world that your internal life is private and protected. This economy requires you to understand the power of the micro-shift. When a person is constantly expressive, a smile means nothing. It is just background noise. But when a person of quiet authority finally offers a slight upturn of the mouth or a subtle narrowing of the eyes, it lands with the impact of a revelation. Because your baseline is stillness, your deviations from that baseline become significant. You are rationing your social rewards. This makes your approval incredibly valuable because it is rare. You move from a devalued currency of constant smiles to a gold standard of intentional warmth. You aren't being cold, you are being precise. You are using your face as a surgical instrument rather than a broadcasting tower. Consider the fear of the blank stare. The insecure person is terrified of looking uninterested or bored, so they overcompensate with performative listening. They nod like a bobblehead and maintain a frozen grin. But this fixity is a sign of tension. True authority is relaxed neutrality. You must learn to let your facial muscles drop. Soften your jaw, relax your brow, let your lips remain lightly closed without being pursed. This resting sovereign face signals high arousal control. It tells the room that you are absorbing everything, but reacting to nothing. You are the filter through which the information must pass. When you are visually quiet, you become a mirror for the other person's insecurity. They will start to fill the silence with their own nervous energy while you remain solid. You must also recognize the hierarchy of the smile. In the animal kingdom, a submissive animal shows its teeth as a sign of non-aggression. It is a way of saying, "I am not a threat." In the human world, the unsolicited smile, the one you offer before a word is spoken, is often a submissive signal. It is an apology for your presence. To speak with authority, you must learn to earn the smile. Do not lead with it. Enter the room with your neutral baseline. Speak your truth. Then, and only then, if the moment warrants it, allow a genuine smile to emerge. This sequencing is crucial. It tells the world that you are not offering your warmth as a bribe for their liking, but as a response to a shared value. You move from the beggar to the bestower. Think about the geometry of the brow. Most people use their eyebrows to signal uncertainty or seeking. They lift them when they ask a question or when they are surprised. This makes you look startled and low status. But authority is level. You must learn to keep your brow quiet. When you ask a question with a still brow, it feels like an inquiry from a place of power rather than a plea for information. It signals that you are evaluating the answer against a standard you already possess. This visual stability makes you look older, wiser, and more grounded. You are the judge who is already in possession of the facts. Your brow is the lintel of your authority. This requires you to divorce your expression from your need for rapport. Most people use their face to bridge the gap between themselves and a stranger because they are afraid of the friction of the unknown. They overperform friendliness to safety check the interaction. But authority is the courage to be friction heavy. You must be willing to let the other person wonder what you are thinking for a moment. You must be willing to be unreadable. This opacity is your psychological armor. It prevents the world from gaming your reactions. When you are strategically still, you become the anchor of the conversation. The other person will naturally align themselves to your baseline because yours is the only one that isn't moving. This economy extends to your reactions to criticism or conflict. When an arrogant person is challenged, their face becomes confrontational, their eyes harden, their nostrils flare, and they leak anger. When an insecure person is challenged, their face becomes apologetic, their eyes dart, they fake smile, and they leak fear. But the person with the rare balance remains neutral. You receive the challenge with the same calm observation that you receive a weather report. Yet this non-reactive face is your ultimate shield. It tells the attacker that their words have no power over your internal state. You are unshakable because you are unmoved. You move from the reactive to the sovereign. Start practicing the neutral minute. Find a quiet place and sit in front of a mirror. Set a timer for 60 seconds. Your goal is to keep your face perfectly still and perfectly relaxed while looking yourself in the eye. Do not let your eyebrows twitch. Do not let your lips move. Do not perform for yourself. Just be. Notice how difficult it is to stop the performance. Notice the urge to smile at yourself or to look away. This is the ego begging to be validated. Push through it. You are training your facial muscles to obey your will rather than your anxiety. You are reclaiming the mask. The strategic economy of expression is the shutter of your authority. It is the valve that controls how much of yourself you leak into the world. Without it, your presence is spent before you ever achieve your goal. But with it, you are contained. You move from broadcasting to being. You are no longer spending your energy to be liked. You are preserving your energy to be effective. The world will learn to value your every look the moment you learn to still your gaze. You are the stillness. You are the mask. You are the sovereign. And today, your expression is finally heavy enough to hold the truth. 2. Our Chapter 6, The Architecture of Articulation. You must now master the mechanical delivery of your thoughts, for even the most profound wisdom is rendered impotent if it is delivered through a vessel of slurred vowels and collapsed consonants. Most people speak with a lazy tongue, a symptom of a mind that is either too rushed to be precise or too indifferent to be respected. They mumble, they swallow the ends of their sentences, and they allow their words to bleed into one another in a frantic soup of grey noise. This is the casualty of clarity. It signals to the world that you do not value your own ideas enough to clothe them in the dignity of precision. But the person with authority understands the architecture of articulation. You move from the mumble of the bystander to the enunciation of the expert. You realize that your clarity is a form of charity to the listener and a demand for their attention. Think about the physicality of speech. Your mouth, your tongue, and your teeth are the tools of your trade. When you speak with authority, you are engaging in a manual labor of the intellect. You must learn to strike the consonants, the T, the K, and the P, with the sharpness of a hammer on an anvil. These are the edges of your words. When your consonants are crisp, your speech has definition. It carves a space out of the silence. Most insecure speakers soften these edges because they are afraid of appearing harsh or too formal. But formality is just another word for intentionality. By being precise with your sounds, you are signaling that every word you choose is calculated and deliberate. You are framing your thoughts in a structure of competence. This architecture requires you to understand the hierarchy of vowels. Vowels are the emotional carriers of your speech. They provide the color and the volume. Most people collapse their vowels, turning I am going into I'm gonna. This slurring is a high-velocity leak of status. It makes you look unprepared and low value. To speak with presence, you must learn to open your vowels. You must allow the A, the O, and the you to have their full resonance in the back of your throat. This vocal openness creates a richness that commands respect. It tells the world that you are comfortable taking up time. When you fully inhabit a vowel, you are slowing down the perception of time for the listener. You move from the staccato of the frantic to the legato of the sovereign. Consider the trap of the fading sentence. Many speakers start strong but trail off at the end of their thoughts, their volume dipping and their articulation crumbling as they reach the final word. This is the submissive fade. It suggests that you have lost steam or that you are checking out to see how the other person is reacting before you've even finished. To speak with authority, you must drive through the finish line. You must ensure that the final word of your sentence is the clearest and most resonant of them all. This full stop articulation tells the world that your thought is a completed product. You aren't negotiating the end of your sentence. You are declaring it. This vocal finality makes your opinions feel like facts. You must also recognize the power of the monotone shift. While variety in pitch is useful for storytelling, constant fluctuation makes you sound entertaining rather than authoritative. The voice of the expert is often characterized by a narrower range of pitch, a steady level delivery that suggests emotional regulation. You must learn to flatten your pitch when you are delivering a key piece of information or a strategic directive. This leveling acts as a sonic anchor. It tells the room that you are serious and objective. You aren't singing to them, you are instructing them. When you combine this level pitch with sharp articulation, you create a staccato authority that is impossible to ignore. You move from the performer to the commander. This precision extends to your word choice. Authority is the rejection of the vague. Most people use hedging language, words like kind of, sort of, basically, and maybe, to avoid taking full responsibility for their statements. They use these words as cushions to soften a potential rejection. But hedging is the sound of doubt. To speak with presence, you must strip your language of its fluff. You must use absolute nouns and active verbs. Instead of saying, "I think we could maybe try this," you say, "We will execute this strategy." This linguistic economy makes you look efficient and decisive. You aren't proposing a reality, you are commanding it into existence. You move from wondering to witnessing. Think about the physics of the pause within articulation. Most people speak in run-on thoughts, afraid that if they stop for air, they will lose the listener's attention. But the person with presence uses the micro-pause between key phrases to pulse their authority. You speak a phrase, you pause for a half beat to let it land, and then you speak the next. This cadence creates a rhythm of importance. It tells the listener that every phrase you utter is a discrete unit of value. It gives them the time to digest your meaning. By metering your output, you are managing the listener's cognitive load. You are the provider, and you are rationing the truth. You move from a fire hose of information to a precision drip. This requires you to overcome the fear of appearing robotic or stiff. Many people dumb down their articulation to seem approachable or chill. They use slang and contraction as a way to build rapport. But rapport is not respect. You must be willing to be the most articulate person in the room without apology. You must realize that precision is a sign of intelligence and discipline. When you speak with impeccable clarity, you are lifting the standards of the entire conversation. You are telling the world that this interaction matters. You are honoring the listener by giving them your best vocal effort. This high-standard communication is the ultimate status signal. It proves you are sovereign over your own habits. Start practicing the tongue twister audit. Find a complex sentence or a classic tongue twister and recite it 10 times. Your goal is not speed, but absolute clarity. You must feel your tongue hitting every consonant. You must hear every vowel open fully. Record yourself and listen back. Where do you slur? Where do you swallow the sound? This is your map of weakness. You must retrain your mouth to obey your intellect. You are machining your voice into a precision instrument. The architecture of articulation is the craftsmanship of your authority. It is the finish on the sculpture of your presence. Without it, your power is unrefined and clumsy. But with it, you are sharp. You move from being heard to being understood. You are no longer throwing your voice into the air. You are carving your meaning into the room. The world will learn to pay attention to your words the moment you learn to invest in their delivery. You are the clarity, you are the precision, you are the sovereign, and today your articulation is finally heavy enough to hold the attention of the world. Chapter 7. The Resonance of the Sovereign Core. You have mastered the external mechanics, the gaze, the posture, and the articulation. But now you must descend into the engine room of your authority, the resonance of your physical voice. Most people speak from the mask of the face or the tightness of the throat. Because they are subconsciously anxious, their vocal folds constrict, their breath becomes shallow, and their tone becomes thin, nasal, or breathy. This is the vocal leak. It tells the world that your internal pressure is high and your capacity is low. It makes you sound like a supplicant, even when you are trying to be a leader. But the person with presence understands the resonance of the sovereign core. You move from the noise of the head to the vibration of the body. You realize that your tone is the emotional truth that the listener believes long before they process your logic. Think about the physics of the throat. The throat is a gateway, not a source. When you are seeking approval, your throat muscles tighten as a reflex to filter your thoughts before they escape. This creates a strangled quality to your voice, a pitchiness that signals stress. To speak with authority, you must open the gate. You must learn the silent sob technique, a subtle expansion of the back of the throat, as if you are about to yawn. This open throat allows the sound to bypass the tension of the ego and connect directly to the power of the lungs. It creates a roundness and warmth in your speech. You are no longer pushing your voice out. You are allowing it to resonate within the cathedral of your own chest. On this depth signals biological safety and high-status relaxation. This resonance requires you to understand the hierarchy of pitch. It is a biological fact that lower frequencies are associated with larger mass and greater stability. When you speak from your head voice, you sound light and easily moved. When you speak from your chest voice, you sound heavy and permanent. You must learn to drop the weight of your voice. This is not about faking a deep bass tone, which sounds performative and arrogant. It is about finding your optimal pitch, the lowest natural frequency, where your vocal folds are most relaxed. When you speak at this frequency, your voice has a vibrational authority that calms the nervous systems of everyone in the room. You aren't demanding respect. Your vibration is enforcing it. You move from the whistle of the wind to the hum of the earth. Consider the trap of the vocal fry. This is the crackling sound at the end of sentences, often used by those trying to sound detached or cool. While it may seem casual, it is actually a sign of vocal fatigue and a lack of breath support. It makes your authority sound frayed and uncertain. To speak with presence, you must fuel every word with a consistent stream of air. This is the legato command. You must imagine your voice as a ribbon of sound that is supported by the bellows of your diaphragm. When your voice is well supported, it has a shimmer and a carrying power that allows you to speak quietly and still be heard at the back of the room. This low-volume power is the ultimate sign of the sovereign. It tells the world that you don't need to shout to be significant. You must also recognize the power of the timbre. Timbre is the texture of your voice, the difference between a harsh sound and a mellow one. Arrogance often has a sharp, metallic timbre. It cuts and scratches. Insecurity often has a thin, airy timbre. It wavers and fades. But quiet authority has a rich, velvet timbre. It is smooth and solid. You develop this by relaxing your jaw and softening your tongue. When your mouth is relaxed, your voice picks up overtones from your nasal cavities and chest. This harmonic richness makes your voice pleasant to listen to, which means people will stay engaged with you longer. You are seducing their attention through the quality of your sound. Like you move from the utility of speech to the artistry of presence. Think about the vibrational match. Most people match the pitch and energy of the person they are talking to, a phenomenon called vocal convergence. If the other person is high-pitched and frantic, the insecure person becomes high-pitched and frantic. This is submissive mirroring. But the person with authority is the vocal anchor. You maintain your sovereign pitch, regardless of the noise around you. If the other person is shouting, you speak lower and slower. This vocal refusal to be moved is a massive status signal. It forces the other person to de-escalate to match you. You are the thermostat that sets the tonal temperature of the room. By staying in your core, you are regulating the entire interaction. This requires you to divorce your voice from your emotional volatility. Most people's voices betray them. Their pitch rises when they are nervous, their volume drops when they are intimidated, and their tone becomes harsh when they are defensive. But authority is the courage to stay resonant in the face of pressure. You must learn to monitor your own vocal vibration in real time. If you feel your voice climbing into your throat, you must consciously drop it back into your chest with your next breath. This vocal self-correction is a secret practice of the sovereign. It ensures that even if your mind is racing, your voice remains solid. You are lying to the world with the truth of your body. Start practicing the hum of the sovereign. Several times a day, close your mouth and make a low, unsteady sound. Focus on feeling the vibration in your chest, your lips, and your teeth. Your goal is to make the vibration as strong and steady as possible. Then, transition from the hum into a simple sentence, keeping that same chest vibration alive. This is your resonance baseline. You are tuning your instrument. You are reminding your body where your power lives. You are claiming the low frequencies of your own existence. The resonance of the sovereign core is the emotional weight of your authority. It is the texture of your presence that people remember long after they forget your words. Without it, your logic is cold and unconvincing. But with it, you are magnetic. You move from transmitting data to shifting the atmosphere. You are no longer talking at the world, and you are vibrating with it. The world will learn to resonate with your vision the moment you learn to resonate with your own truth. You are the hum. You are the depth. You are the sovereign. And today, your voice is finally heavy enough to anchor the air. Chapter 8. The cadence of control. You have developed the weight, the gaze, and the resonance. But now you must master the tempo of your authority. Most people are slaves to the rhythm of the room. They speak when spoken to. They rush to fill gaps. And they match the frantic energy of a high-pressure environment. This is the reactive cadence. It tells the world that you are a passenger in the conversation, being swept along by the currents of other people's anxiety. But the person with presence understands the cadence of control. You move from the staccato of the panicked to the legato of the sovereign. You realize that the person who sets the pace is the person who owns the reality. Think about the physics of the lead. In any interaction, there is a dominant pulse. If you are speaking to someone who is talking at 150 words per minute with high-pitched energy, your instinct is to keep up. You feel a subconscious pressure to sync with them so you don't lose them. But this is a status trap. When you match a frantic pace, you are validating their anxiety. To speak with authority, you must resist the pull. You must speak at your sovereign tempo, usually 10% to 20% slower than the average person. This vocal friction forces the other person to slow down to process your words. You are the heavy object in the water that creates its own wake. You aren't following the rhythm, you are imposing yours. This cadence requires you to understand the hierarchy of the phrase. Most people speak in long, winding sentences that lack a clear landing zone. They use and, but, and so to chain ideas together because they are afraid that if they stop, they will be interrupted. This is defensive speech. It makes you sound unfiltered and exhausting. But authority is modular. You must learn to speak in short, discrete phrases. You state a point, you let it land with a micro pause, and then you move to the next. This chunking of information makes you look highly organized. It tells the listener that you have pre-selected the most important data. You are editing the reality for them in real time. And you move from the stream of consciousness to the architecture of intent. Consider the trap of the interruption. The arrogant person interrupts to dominate. The insecure person allows themselves to be interrupted to please. But the person with the rare balance handles the interruption with cadence. If someone cuts you off, you do not stop immediately, nor do you shout over them. You finish your phrase at your original volume and speed, and then you stop and look at them. This controlled overlap signals that your internal momentum is stronger than their external intrusion. It proves that you are committed to your thought. When you finally give them the floor, you do it with a calm nod. You are granting them the space, not losing it. This rhythmic boundary is the mark of a person who cannot be pushed. You must also recognize the power of the variable speed. While your baseline should be deliberate, total monotony is a sign of rigidity, not authority. The sovereign speaker uses tempo shifts to highlight importance. When you are explaining a routine process, you can be fluid and efficient. But when you reach the core truth or the strategic directive, you slow down even further. You stretch the words. You enlarge the pauses. This contrast acts as a sonic highlighter. It tells the listener, this part matters. By varying your cadence, you are directing the listener's focus. You are the editor-in-chief of their attention. You move from talking to programming. Think about the breathe, speak, breathe cycle. Most people breathe into their speech. They start talking while they are still inhaling, or they run out of air at the end of a sentence. This creates a thin, gasping quality that signals survival mode. To speak with authority, you must decouple your breathing from your talking. You take a full, silent breath. You speak your phrase on the exhale. You stop. You take another full breath. This cyclical rhythm creates a sense of infinity. It suggests that you have unlimited energy and unlimited time. It removes the frantic edge from your presence. You are no longer fighting for air. You are dispensing wisdom. You move from the exhaustion of the runner to the vitality of the lungs. This requires you to divorce your tempo from your need for efficiency. Most of us rush because we have been trained to not waste people's time. We think that fast equals productive. But in the realm of presence, fast equals cheap. You must be willing to be the slowest person in the conversation without feeling guilty. You must realize that the value you provide is not in the volume of words, but in the clarity of the outcome. When you slow down, you are valuing the listener's time more, not less, because you are ensuring that what you say is accurate and final. This respect for the word is the ultimate status signal. It proves you are sovereign over the ticking clock. This cadence extends to your physicality. Your gestures must match your speech. If you are speaking slowly but your hands are darting, you are incongruent. The world will believe your hands, the subconscious, over your words, the conscious. You must slow down your blinks, your nods, and your hand movements to match your vocal tempo. This total synchronization creates a monolithic presence. You are all of a piece. There is no static in your broadcast. You are unshakable because every part of you is singing the same note. You move from the jagged to the smooth. Start practicing the metronome walk. For 10 minutes today, walk at a pace that is slightly slower than your natural stride. Match your breathing to your steps. 4 steps to inhale, 4 steps to exhale. Then, begin to speak simple observations about the room to the rhythm of your feet. I am walking through the hall. The light is coming from the window. Notice how the forced rhythm begins to calm your mind. You are training your brain to accept a slower frequency as the dominant one. You are installing the cadence of control into your nervous system. The cadence of control is the rhythm of your authority. It is the tempo that the world eventually dances to. Without it, your presence is disorganized and noisy. But with it, you are hypnotic. You move from competing for time to owning the clock. You are no longer reacting to the speed of the world. You are setting the speed of your own life. The world will learn to wait for you the moment you learn to wait for your own breath. You are the rhythm, you are the tempo, you are the sovereign. And today, your cadence is finally heavy enough to hold the line. Chapter 9. The Anatomy of High Status Directness. You must now address the most difficult psychological hurdle in the quest for authority, the fear of the unfiltered truth. Most people communicate through a softening filter. Because they are seeking approval, they use clutter words, apologetic prefaces, and social cushions to ensure they don't appear too aggressive or too certain. They say, "I just wanted to check if," or "I'm sorry, but I think." This is the submissive buffer. It tells the world that you are apologizing for your own existence. It makes your authority look like a request rather than a command. But the person with presence understands the anatomy of high-status directness. You move from the oblique to the linear. You realize that the most respectful thing you can do for a listener is to be unambiguous. Think about the physics of the straight line. In a high-stakes interaction, the weak speaker takes a scenic route to their point. They talk around the issue, providing context that wasn't asked for and justifications that haven't been challenged. This verbosity is a high arousal leak. It shows you are nervous about the impact of your words. But the sovereign speaker uses the shortest distance between 2 points. You state the core fact first. No preface, no apology, and no buffer. This naked delivery is a massive status signal. It proves that you believe the truth is valuable enough to stand on its own without packaging. You are trusting the listener to be an adult. You move from the salesman to the source. This directness requires you to master the art of the period. Most people speak in run-on sentences because they are afraid of the finality of a stop. They use trailing words like, "right?" or "you know what I mean?" to keep the door open for a nod. This is checking for safety. To speak with authority, you must learn to land your sentences. When you finish a thought, you must stop completely. No vocal fry, no nervous laughter, and no seeking gaze. You must allow the period to exist in the physical space. This starkness tells the world that you are finished and that you mean what you said. You aren't looking for a consensus, but you are providing a conclusion. Consider the trap of the I feel. Many people replace I think, or the fact is, with I feel like, as a way to avoid being wrong. Since no one can argue with your feelings, it feels safe. But feeling is the language of the subjective. Authority is the language of the objective. When you use I feel, you are demoting your professional or intellectual insight to the level of an emotion. To speak with presence, you must remove the self from the statement. Instead of I feel like this project is behind, you say, the project is behind schedule. This depersonalization makes your words unattackable. You aren't sharing a vulnerability, you are reporting a reality. You move from the sensitive to the solid. You must also recognize the power of the specific noun. Insecurity loves generalities, words like stuff, things, sometime, and soon. These words are safe because they are vague. If you are vague, you can't be held accountable. But authority is accountable by design. You must use surgical nouns. You don't say the team is having issues. You say the engineering department is missing the Friday deadline. This granularity tells the world that you are in command of the details. It proves that you aren't guessing or hoping. You are observing with high-resolution clarity. By being specific, you are taking responsibility for the truth. You move from the haze to the highlight. Think about the hierarchy of questions. Most people ask questions to gain information, but they do it from a lower position. They ask for permission to ask. Can I just ask a quick question? This pre-asking is a status sync, but the person with presence commands information. You don't ask for a question, you initiate an inquiry. You use open-ended prompts that force the other person to expand. Instead of, do you have the report? You say, show me the report. This imperative tone is not rude if it is delivered with quiet authority. It is efficient. It signals that the mission is more important than the social pleasantries. You are directing the flow of the work. You move from the interrogated to the investigator. This requires you to overcome the fear of being disliked. Many people are indirect because they want to be nice. They think that clarity is cruelty, but the opposite is true. Vagueness is cruel because it creates anxiety and misunderstanding in others. Directness is kind because it provides certainty. You must be willing to be the person who says the thing that everyone else is thinking but is too afraid to state. This radical honesty is the jet fuel of your influence. When people know that you will tell them the truth without sugarcoating it, they will trust you more than anyone else in the room. You become the anchor in a sea of polite lies. This directness extends to your corrections. When someone makes a mistake, you, the insecure person, hints at it or softens it with a compliment sandwich. This is confusing. The person with authority names the error instantly and objectively. You say, that number is incorrect. Let's look at the source. There is no shame in the tone, only fact. By removing the emotion from the correction, you make it easy for the other person to fix it. You aren't attacking them, you are aligning them with the truth. This clinical correction is the ultimate sign of a master. It shows you are sovereign over the standard. Start practicing the no buffer challenge. For the next 24 hours, remove all prefaces from your speech. No I think, no just checking, no sorry to bother you, and no in my opinion. Start every sentence with the main point. If someone asks you a question, and give the answer first, and then the context only if they ask for it. Notice the sudden weight your voice carries. Notice how the dynamics of your interactions shift as you stop apologizing for your thoughts. You are stripping the ego clutter away and letting the sovereign truth shine through. The anatomy of high-status directness is the scalpel of your authority. It is the precision that separates the noise from the signal. Without it, your presence is blurry and forgettable. But with it, you are sharp. You move from being a person who talks to being a person who speaks. You are no longer negotiating for your reality. You are documenting it. And the world will learn to believe you the moment you learn to state it plainly. You are the directness. You are the linear. You are the sovereign. And today, your words are finally heavy enough to cut through the fog. Gemini said, Chapter 10. The unshakable standard of presence. You have integrated the weight, the gaze, the resonance, and the directness, but the final threshold of authority is the transition from practicing these traits to embodying them as an unbreakable standard. Most people treat presence like a costume they put on for big meetings or high-stakes dates, only to collapse back into their submissive habits the moment they are alone or in low-stakes environments. This is the inconsistency leak. It tells your own subconscious that your authority is a lie, a performance you are maintaining to trick the world. But the person with the rare balance understands the unshakable standard of presence. You move from the effort of the actor to the inevitability of the sovereign. You realize that how you speak to yourself in the mirror is exactly how the world will eventually hear you. Think about the physics of the private moment. True authority is built in the dark. If you mumble to the barista, slouch while you are scrolling through your phone, and check for approval from your closest friends, you are eroding the foundation of your power. You are training your nervous system to be reactive. To speak with presence, you must maintain your sovereign baseline at all times. You must speak with clarity even when no one is listening. You must maintain your posture even when you are exhausted. This internal discipline is the secret engine of your influence. When you finally enter the high-stakes room, you aren't trying to be powerful. You are simply continuing to be yourself. You move from the stress of the audition to the ease of the expert. This standard requires you to understand the hierarchy of non-reaction. In any social system, the person with the most stable internal state is the one who leads. Most people are emotional mirrors. They get angry because someone else is angry, or they get nervous because the room is tense. This reflexive mirroring is a loss of sovereignty. But the person with authority is the thermostat. You decide what the emotional temperature of the room will be. When someone attacks you, you don't defend, you observe. When someone praises you, you don't preen, you acknowledge. This unshakable neutrality makes you look ancient and permanent. It tells the world that your identity is not up for debate. You are the fixed point around which the world revolves. Consider the trap of the last word. The arrogant person needs the last word to feel dominant. The insecure person needs it to feel safe. But the person with the unshakable standard is comfortable leaving the last word to someone else. You understand that silence is the ultimate conclusion. When you have stated your truth with precision and weight, any further talking is just dilution. You must learn to walk away from a point once it has been made. This detachment proves that you trust your own words. You aren't chasing the listener's understanding. You are depositing the truth and moving on. This high-status exit leaves your presence lingering in the room long after you have gone. You move from the clinging of the child to the sufficiency of the king. You must also recognize the power of the refined no. Most people say no with a guilty energy. They explain, they apologize, and they offer consolation prizes. This makes the no look like a negotiation. But authority is categorical. When you say no, it must be a complete sentence. You deliver it with eye contact, downward inflection, and zero explanation. This clean boundary is the most attractive and respected trait a human can possess. It signals that you have a standard that is higher than your need to be liked. By being uncompromising with your boundaries, you are teaching the world how to value your yes. You move from the doormat to the gatekeeper. Think about the legacy of the voice. You are not just speaking for the now, you are speaking for your reputation. Every word you utter is a brick in the monument of your character. If you are frequent, noisy, and reactive, your monument will be a shack. But if you are sparse, weighty, and intentional, your monument will be a cathedral. You must treat your voice as a sacred resource. Do not spend it on gossip, on pointless arguments, or on seeking attention. Save it for the strategic, the true, and the meaningful. This vocal thrift ensures that when you do open your mouth, the entire world hushes to hear what you have to say. You move from being a noisemaker to being a truth teller. This requires you to divorce your authority from your circumstances. Most people feel confident when they have money, status, or a title. This is conditional presence. And it is fragile. Real authority is unconditional. It is the presence you maintain when you have nothing. It is the way you speak when you are wrong, when you are losing, and when you are alone. You must realize that your value is an inherent fact of your existence, not a result of your achievements. When your presence is uncoupled from the world's scoreboard, you become dangerous. You become unbuyable and unbreakable. You move from the player to the game master. This unshakable standard extends to your internal dialogue. You cannot speak with quiet command to the world if you are speaking with arrogant chaos or insecure panic to yourself. You must clean your internal house. You must treat yourself with the same precise respect that you demand from others. Speak to yourself with logic, with calm, and with firmness. When you become the sovereign of your own inner world, the outer world has no choice but to follow suit. You are projecting an internal reality that is already conquered. You move from the battle to the victory lap. Start practicing the sovereign hour. For the first 60 minutes of every day, resolve to be perfectly present. No rushing to the coffee machine, no fidgeting with your phone, and no reactive thoughts. Move with liquid deliberation. Speak to your family or yourself with absolute clarity. Maintain your physics as if you are being watched by a jury of your peers. This morning ritual sets the tempo for your entire day. It reminds your body that you are the authority in your own life. You are calibrating your standard. The unshakable standard of presence is the seal on your authority. It is the transition from technique to character. Without it, you are just a clever speaker, but with it, you are a force of nature. You move from trying to be heard to being the one who is followed. You are no longer performing for the world. The world is witnessing you. The world will learn to obey your standards the moment you learn to obey your own. You are the standard, you are the presence, you are the sovereign, and today you are finally heavy enough to rule your own life.